I took the night shift because I thought it would be quiet. Less people, less noise, less everything. The warehouse sat 20 miles outside Dayton, Ohio. Nothing around it but dead fields and a long stretch of highway that felt abandoned even during the day. At night, it looked like the kind of place where something bad had already happened. I was the only security guard on rotation from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. My job was simple. Watch the camera feeds, do a perimeter walk every hour, log anything unusual. For the first 3 weeks, nothing happened. Then, on a Thursday night at 2:13 a.m., I saw myself on camera. 2:13 a.m. I was sitting in the security office, feet up on the desk, half watching camera 12, the loading dock. The screen flickered, just once. I remember thinking the DVR system was lagging again. It did that sometimes. But when the picture stabilized, I was standing outside, on camera 12, facing the loading dock doors, completely still. I blinked, looked down at my hands. I was still in the office. The version of me on the monitor wasn't moving. He was just standing there. The timestamp read 2:23 a.m., 10 minutes ahead. I laughed, actually laughed. Okay, that's weird. I rewound the footage. At 2:12 a.m., the dock was empty. At 2:13 a.m., flicker. Then there I was. But I hadn't left the office. My radio crackled. Unit 3, status check. It was dispatch. Yeah, all clear. My voice sounded tight. I looked back at the screen. The version of me outside slowly turned his head, not toward the warehouse, toward the camera, and smiled. I told myself it was a glitch. Security systems lag, cameras duplicate frames, brains misinterpret shadows. That's what I told myself as I grabbed my flashlight and walked toward the loading dock. The hallway lights hummed. My boots echoed louder than usual. When I pushed open the metal door to the dock, it was empty. No one there. No footprints in the thin layer of dust near the threshold. I stepped outside. Cold air hit my face. I looked toward the camera mounted above the door. Red recording light blinking. Normal. Everything normal. Except my hands were shaking. 2:23 a.m. I went back to the office. Camera 12 was empty now. The timestamp read 2:23 a.m., exactly what I'd seen earlier. No version of me, just the loading dock. I rewound again. This time, the footage didn't show anything. No flicker, no second me, just empty concrete, like it had never happened. That should have been the end of it, but at 3:02 a.m., it happened again. 3:02 a.m., camera 4. Camera 4 covered the main storage aisle, tall shelves, pallets stacked high. I saw myself walking down the aisle, flashlight in hand, moving slowly. The timestamp read 3:12 a.m., 10 minutes ahead. I checked my watch, 3:02. The version of me on screen stopped halfway down the aisle, turned toward shelf 19, and tilted his head, like he was listening to something. Then the screen cut to static, just for a second. When it came back, he was gone. My radio crackled again, but this time, it wasn't dispatch. It was my voice. Unit 3, don't go to shelf 19. The transmission was distorted, like it had been recorded underwater. My stomach dropped. I hadn't touched the radio. Who is this? I whispered. Silence. Then faint breathing. Shelf 19. Every part of me said don't check it, which meant I had to. The warehouse felt different walking through it this time, like the air was heavier, like the building was aware. When I reached shelf 19, my flashlight beam caught something on the floor. Footprints. Fresh. Leading from the aisle to the back emergency exit. They were my size, same tread pattern as my boots. I slowly looked down at my feet, then back at the prints. They were slightly ahead of me, like I had just walked there, but I hadn't. The emergency exit alarm suddenly blared, loud, violent.
I jumped. The door was closed, locked, but the alarm kept screaming. I radioed dispatch. Emergency exit alarm triggered. I'm checking it. My voice sounded far away. Dispatch responded, but what came through wasn't her voice. It was mine. I'm checking it, repeating, looping, over and over. The third incident, 4:17 a.m. I decided to stop checking the cameras. I turned my chair away from the monitors, told myself I'd just wait until morning, but something made me look back. Camera 1, the security office. I was on screen, sitting in the chair, facing the monitors, except the timestamp read 4:27 a.m., 10 minutes ahead. The version of me on camera slowly stood up, walked toward the office door, and turned off the lights. My lights were still on. I was still sitting there, watching myself stand up in the future. The version of me paused at the doorway, and without turning around, said something. There was no audio, but I could read his lips. Run. The office lights flickered. Once, twice, then went out. Darkness. The only light left was from the monitors. Emergency power must have kicked in. My radio was dead. No signal. My phone had no service. I stood up slowly, heart pounding so hard I could hear it. Camera 12 turned on by itself. The loading dock. Empty. Then, I walked into frame. Future me, walking toward the door. Camera 4 activated. Future me walking past shelf 19. Camera 1, future me entering the office. The monitors began switching feeds automatically, like something was cycling through my next 10 minutes. I was watching myself move through the building, heading towards something, or being led. Then every camera feed switched at once to the hallway outside the security office, and I was standing there, right outside the door, facing inward. Timestamp, 4:27 a.m., exactly the time on my watch. I heard footsteps outside the office, slow, measured, matching my breathing rhythm. The doorknob rattled. I wasn't touching it. I backed away. The doorknob slowly turned. The door opened, and I stepped inside. Face to face. He looked exactly like me. Same uniform, same tired eyes. But there was something wrong. His smile was too wide, too patient, like he had been waiting. "I told you not to go to shelf 19, he said. Same voice, calm. I couldn't move. My body felt disconnected, like I was watching this through the monitors. You weren't supposed to notice until 5. "What are you?" I whispered. He tilted his head. "I'm the part that stays." The lights flickered back on, just for a second, and I saw something behind him. Not shelves, not walls, just darkness, deep, moving. He stepped closer. The temperature dropped instantly. "I walk first," he said softly. "You follow." He reached out and touched my chest. Morning shift. 6:02 a.m. The day guard Marcus found me standing in the hallway outside the security office, facing camera 1. Not moving, just staring. He said my eyes were open, but I didn't respond, didn't blink, didn't breathe normally. He called my name 3 times, then grabbed my shoulder. That's when I fell, like a mannequin losing balance. They said I was alive, but unresponsive. I don't remember any of that, because I was still walking. The footage. Marcus reviewed the camera logs later. At 4:27 a.m., the security office door opened. I walked out, walked down the hallway, past shelf 19, out the loading dock, and into the field behind the warehouse. The camera facing the field showed me walking straight into the darkness, then stopping at exactly 4:37 a.m., 10 minutes after the flicker. I stood there, facing nothing, for the rest of the night, until sunrise. But here's the part they don't understand. The footage still plays. Every night at 2:13 a.m., the cameras flicker, and there I am, standing at the loading dock, 10 minutes ahead, waiting. And sometimes, if you watch closely, you can see two of me, one walking into the dark, and one turning toward the camera and smiling.
I was told 3 things during orientation. Don't fall asleep, don't ignore a call light, and don't take the elevator to the 3rd floor after midnight. The first 2 made sense. The third one didn't. I had just started working nights at St. Mercy Regional Hospital in downtown Chicago, graveyard shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I took it because it paid more, and because at the time I thought hospitals were quieter at night. They're not. They're just different. Quieter in sound, louder in feeling. The first night. My charge nurse, Diane, walked me through the floor at 11:40 p.m. ICU was half full. 2 post-op patients, 1 elderly woman on oxygen, a teenage car accident victim sedated and stable. 3rd floor is sealed, Diane said casually as we passed the elevators. I glanced at the directory. Basement, 1st, 2nd, 4th. No 3rd. Renovation? I asked. She hesitated half a second too long. Something like that. The elevator dinged behind us. Neither of us had pressed the button. The doors slowly slid open. Inside, the button panel glowed softly, and for just a second, I saw a button labeled 3. Then it flickered and disappeared. Diane didn't react. She just pressed 2. Don't ride alone after midnight, she added quietly. I thought she was joking. 12:17 a.m., first call light. Room 214. The call light above the door blinked red. I checked the chart. Empty room. It had been empty since the afternoon discharge. I knocked anyway. Hello? No answer. I opened the door. The room was dark, but the call button cord was stretched across the bed, like someone had just pulled it. The heart monitor screen, which wasn't connected to anyone, showed a faint green line. Not flat, just idle. I stepped inside. The bathroom door creaked open slightly. The light inside flicked on by itself. I told myself it was motion activated, but I hadn't moved. A small voice whispered behind me, "Where's my mom?" I spun around. The room was empty. The call light above the bed went dark. 1:03 a.m., the elevator. I needed supplies from storage, basement level. I pressed the elevator button. Doors opened instantly. Too instantly. Inside, it smelled faintly like smoke. Old smoke, like something had burned a long time ago. I pressed B. The doors shut. The elevator started moving, but it was going up. I pressed B again. Nothing. The floor indicator blinked. 1, 2. The doors opened. The hallway outside was dimly lit. Walls older than the rest of the hospital. Paint peeling. The directory sign read, Pediatrics, 1998. The air felt wrong. Heavy. Too warm. A nurse's station sat empty in the middle of the hall. Old computers. Old chairs. A calendar on the wall frozen on October 1998. Somewhere down the corridor, a child coughed. Wet. Weak. I stepped back into the elevator. The doors wouldn't close. A small handprint appeared on the inside of the door. From the outside. Then another, like someone small was pressing their palms against it. The doors finally slid shut. When they reopened, I was back on the 2nd floor. The 3rd floor button was gone again. I asked about it. Around 2:30 a.m., I asked Diane directly, "What happened in 1998? She didn't look at me. There was a fire. In pediatrics? She nodded. Electrical fault. Spread fast. Smoke inhalation. How many? She finally met my eyes. Enough. Then she leaned closer. If the elevator opens there again, don't get off. 3:12 a.m., the chart. Room 222. Elderly woman on oxygen. Stable. Sleeping.
Her monitor beeped steadily. I updated her chart. When I stepped away and came back, the digital chart had changed. Diagnosis, smoke inhalation, 1998. Admit date, October 14th, 1998. I froze. Her wristband still read 2025. Her birth year didn't match. I refreshed the system. The entry disappeared. Her oxygen line began filling with something dark. Not blood, smoke. The plastic tubing fogged the inside. She opened her eyes suddenly, but they weren't focused on me. They were staring past me, at the corner of the room. "Still smells like it," she whispered. Then her monitor flatlined. Just one long tone. I rushed forward, checked her pulse. Strong. Her monitor screen flickered back to normal rhythm, like nothing happened. But the room still smelled faintly like burning plastic. 3:33 a.m., the PA system. The hospital PA system clicked on. No announcement scheduled, just static. Then a child's voice. Code red on 3. The entire floor lights dimmed. For 3 seconds. When they came back, room numbers had changed. 214 was now 314. 222 was now 322. I blinked hard. The number shifted back. Diane came running from down the hall. "You heard that too?" I nodded. She looked pale. "We need to check the elevators." The security footage. Security room was 1 floor down. The guard on duty rewound the cameras. At 3:33 a.m., the elevator doors opened on the 2nd floor. Diane and I stepped inside, but I had no memory of that. We watched ourselves enter the elevator. The door closed. The feed cut to static. Then it came back. Elevator empty. Doors opening on the 2nd floor. No sign of us. The timestamp jumped forward 7 minutes. "You don't remember that?" Diane asked quietly. I shook my head. My chest felt tight, like I had breathed in something I shouldn't have. 4:02 a.m., the 3rd floor calls. Every call light on our floor lit up at once. All rooms, simultaneously. Monitors began beeping, alarms echoing down the hallway. We ran. Room 214, empty. Room 222, empty. Every room empty. Beds stripped, monitors unplugged, like the floor had never been occupied. The hallway walls looked older, the paint chipped, the directory sign now read, 3rd floor, pediatrics. Diane grabbed my arm. "This isn't right." A child stood at the far end of the hallway, hospital gown, bare feet, skin pale gray. She wasn't burned, but ash fell from her hair like dust. "Have you seen my mom?" she asked softly. Behind her, other children stepped out of rooms, silent, watching. The fire alarm began blaring, loud, overwhelming, red lights flashing. Smoke began seeping from the ceiling vents. Real smoke, thick, burning my throat. Diane coughed violently. I grabbed her hand. We ran toward the elevator. The children didn't chase us. They just watched. The stairs. The elevator wouldn't open. The stairwell door was slightly ajar. Smoke poured from beneath it. We pushed through. The stairwell was intact, clean, modern, no smoke, no fire. We stumbled down to the 2nd floor, burst into the hallway. Everything normal. Rooms occupied, monitors beeping softly. No alarms, no smoke. Diane was gone. I was alone. 5:10 a.m., the memorial wall. Near the hospital lobby, there's a memorial plaque. I had passed it during orientation, but never read it. I stood in front of it now. The names etched in metal. Children, nurses, 1 charge nurse. October 14th, 1998. I scanned down the list. My breath caught. There it was. Diane Harbor, RN, deceased. Smoke inhalation. I felt cold. My reflection in the polished black looked pale, tired, different. Behind me, the elevator dinged. The doors opened slowly. Inside, the button panel glowed. The 3rd floor button stayed lit. A small voice echoed from inside. "Night shift isn't over." I looked at the plaque again, and beneath Diane's name, a new engraving was forming, letters carving themselves into the metal. My name, RN, admin date, 2025. The elevator doors began closing. Slowly, I stepped backward. The hospital lights flickered once. When they stabilized, the plaque was normal. No new name, no movement, but the faint smell of smoke lingered, and the 3rd floor button has never disappeared again.